Hello, hello, welcome in. How's everyone doing? If we could share this out, I would appreciate it. Let me share the live. Hi, Paula. How's everyone doing tonight? Let me see. We'll bring MargeC in here. We'll have to bring her up here. If everyone could tap the screen and share the live, I would appreciate it. Josh and John will be calling in. How's everyone doing? We're a little early. We are early. I figured we'd come on early just to catch up and see what everyone's been up to since the last live. I know there's been a lot going on. I have to share this out to a few people, but we're good. Has everyone been seeing the protest they've been doing outside of Melanie Buzzard's house? Well, actually, Ashley Buzzard's house. They've been protesting outside there. She actually came out to get her groceries. I was surprised to see that. She did come out. I thought that was brave of her, but I'm glad nobody ran up on her like they were asked to do. I'm glad they kept their distance. We are a little early. Oh, Kara, yes, she had groceries delivered by Uber Eats, they said. And there was like 3 or 4 bags she had delivered, and she did come at the door. She did come at the door, and somebody told them, like, go up to her, and they did. The one girl, I think her name, Terry, I think is her name, and someone was telling them to go up there, like go up to her, and she didn't right away. Like she waited back. When she went in, they ran up to her. They ran up to the door, but I'm glad they kept their distance because you can't do that kind of stuff. But yeah, she did have groceries. And at first they were yelling she was having diapers delivered, but it was baby wipes or some kind of wipes. They were looking at the bag or something. It was a little crazy. They will be lucky if she doesn't call. I know. I'm surprised she didn't. I really am. I'm surprised she didn't call the cops. Hey, Nicole, have you been listening to the craziness? It's been wild over there. Buzzard had, oh yeah. So Ashley had groceries delivered, and they were trying to get somebody to run up on her, like to, talk to her, and she didn't. She had groceries delivered, and they were just telling the one girl to, like, go up on her, like, but the one girl that was there didn't. She just stayed back until she went in. She had groceries delivered by Uber. Oh, and then they did interview There was a couple that came by. They really do. And the neighbors said they never really saw anybody like outside. They never saw a kid out there or so they did interview a neighbor. It was a woman and a man that was out there. And he just said he never saw anybody there. I know. I guess because they threatened that they weren't leaving and maybe she needed to get stuff. I mean, I don't know. Like, they put it near the door and she waited till people were backed off a little, and she just opened the door a little bit and she grabbed it and went back in. Unless she had it scheduled from earlier and they just came. I have no idea. It was a little crazy, but I don't know. I know. I know, me too. It was it was crazy out there. I don't know why. Hey, Georgia, how are you? I just would have left it, leave it alone. So I spoke to Brian's Brian's daughter. His wife's doing well since her spinal fusion yesterday. The doctor had her up and walking around. She's doing amazing, thank God. She's doing better without pain medicine. And they said the doctor was there. She walked some more today, and the surgeon said he thinks that she should stay till Sunday or Monday in the hospital. So today's what? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, another 3 days. She doesn't want to do the pain medication. She feels better without it. I don't know. You would think, give me all the pain medicine I need. I don't know about that. Yeah, she's pretty strong, so I think she's going to do good. I really do. She's a strong woman. She worked out a lot before the surgery. I think she's going to do well. Fingers crossed. But they had her up and walking after like a 7-hour surgery yesterday. So I spoke to her. I've been in touch with with their daughter. Right, yeah, if you don't need them, absolutely. But that kind of surgery, that's scary. Like a spinal fusion, that's so bad. My husband had 2 of them. Yeah, she probably will. And they have to drive home. And I mean, They went to a different city for the surgery, so they have like a 4 hour drive. That's the only thing. She might need them for the ride home, and they're going to have to stop um, and make her get out of the car and walk because of blood clots. But that's the only place, like, that's where the doctor belongs, so she might need them for that. So, I mean, I'm sure if she needs them, she'll get them. But thank God she's doing good. I've been talking to Brian, trying to keep him calm. I got Tommy over there keeping him calm. So they're doing okay. They're doing the best they can do. Thank God she has a daughter that's taking care of her and staying with her and all that kind of stuff. I gotta try to find a different mic that I don't have to wear headsets with. This mic you have to, but and it's better so you guys can hear the guys a little bit. The sound is much better when I have two phones going. Otherwise, I normally don't use the mic for just myself, but when you have the two phones going, it's just you hear them better. And I don't have to worry about any usually any restrictions with the Josh and John. They don't even really talk that anything major. I'll share this out to a few people that we're going to join. Oh, never mind. I was just going to share it with somebody that said, "I'm running late. She'll be here in a little bit." We got that. But yeah, I've been these YouTube streets. I mean, yeah, YouTube. The YouTube streets are crazy too. I haven't been there. I've been on TikTok a lot more than YouTube. I haven't. I used to be on YouTube every night, but since we've had these missing people between the Winter Wagner, like I've been doing that all week, and then we had the Rebecca Park. I've been staying on TikTok. But usually, like I said, I'm over on the other app most of the time. Thank you, George. Yeah, they gave me an easy one, 3 ice cream cones. That's not too bad. I guess because the last one I didn't hit, and that's fine today. Look, MargeC had one. We need one more. But yeah, I was actually over on Dan's live earlier too, listening to I was listening. He was talking about the protests. Like he said, he never saw it the way they were doing this. Because, Dan does protest, and you just don't go on people's properties and their door. I heard them talking about the locks on the door. They didn't realize she had so many locks. At one point, one of the ladies did try the door because she knew that she had several locks. She said there's actually 7 locks on the door. You just don't do that. I mean, should she speak on where her daughter is? Absolutely, but who was TikTok to try to get answers? That's what law enforcement's for. There's some things we shouldn't, and do I think we're going to get the answers? I don't think so. This one's a tough cookie. I don't think they're going to crack her. I don't think they're going to crack this one, I'll be honest with you. This one's a tough one. Hey, Katie. Oh, I came on a little earlier. Just to see what was going on. Just so we were talking about, the protests outside Ashley Buzzard's house and how they're going crazy over there. No, I think they're, let me check. I think they're done. I think they finished for tonight. They were done when I checked the last time. Oh no, they're standing there. I don't see a lot. Oh, they're still there. I thought they were done. They said they were done until tomorrow.
What happened to Phoenix? Oh, hey. We have a picture we'll show you in a minute.
Oh, they're
that's
here.
Wearing K-Snap thing right above me.
That's crazy.
Oh, wait,
that's wild.
See it. Oh my gosh.
I thought they were done.
Well,
I heard them say they were going to finish up.
Even with my glasses on, I can't.
Look, see?
Oh my gosh, she has her real hair.
She was outside getting her bags, and they were right there taking pictures of her.
Wow. Did she get grocery delivery? Amazon Fresh?
She had an Uber delivery, Uber Eats, and they dropped off bags, and they were standing there.
She's going to hide in the back of her house. She's going to turn off the lights, and she will stay there all night long.
Well, one of the neighbors chasing went to talk to the TikTokers. A couple,
delivery must be nice.
Because as soon as he got out of his car, they actually, jumped him. They were like, "What do you think? Did you ever see a child?" They said they don't see her. They don't see anybody. So she has headphones on her head, and she just went out, grabbed it, went in, and people were.
I can't believe she has her hair.
They were telling her to,
her real hair,
go up, on her and go, They were kind of telling her, hurry up, go up and talk to her, get up on her, and one girl refused. She didn't go up and talk to her until, The driver just left it there and left.
Beyond this coming out of the house?
So is the girl listed
Did anyone look in the bag
missing?
to see what she ordered? I'm just kidding.
I don't know how they have her listed. I haven't seen anything. I mean, there's missing signs that people are making. I would think so, but they're not. Why aren't they doing? Why haven't they held her? When she got arrested, it was for something she did to one of her friends, with a pokey thing in her house. But she was released. They even took the GPS monitor off her ankle. She had an ankle monitor. They took that off of her.
We back. What'd you learn?
So I don't know.
Oh, they've seen the night.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
I saw them. I thought they were diapers at first, but
yeah, then they were accusing her of having diapers delivery. They were having diaper delivery, and there was no diaper delivery.
Yeah, she'll turn them off.
It was wipes. It was wipes.
What she was doing with the media.
It was wipes. It was nothing. They said, "Oh, she has diapers in here." So what did everybody think? Everybody thought it was, "Why do you have diapers?" And there was no diapers in there. It was they were looking at the bag that got delivered.
I'm gonna walk around over there.
That's a little out there. So Josh and John should be calling shortly. And there were wipes to clean, and that's what people were saying. They were wipes to clean, not baby stuff. How they exaggerate is beyond me.
It's cold. Look, we got Krispy Kreme donuts and some coffee.
Now it's getting so it's 5:30 there, 5:25. So now it's getting dark.
I'm just getting my portable charger because it's at 17%.
So they're gonna stay there tonight? I don't know. That's crazy.
What's the fastest way? That way or that way to get to that street?
People are gonna start complaining. When it gets late, people have work tomorrow. They're not gonna want to hear this stuff.
Yeah, it's all grass, trees.
They're not gonna want to hear it.
It's so cold here. They won't let you. It's cold. My hands are frozen. It's 20 degrees where I am. You guys are leaving?
Let me see. I want to share this out to a few people. If everybody could share this out, I would appreciate it. Let me see. Get this shared out to some people. Oh, let's see. Who else wanted to join? Oh, I know. Trying to think of everyone who asked me to remind them. Angie. Yeah, let me get it in. Let me get everybody in here. I thought I had Angie on my list. Okay.
Hide and just keep the lights out. Or who Rose is. I mean, I know what a rose is, but...
I have to go in here through here and share it. Let me see. I could share it through this page. Oh, how'd it go?
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
Josh Burcham.
an incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Marge.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
I'm good.
That's
I
good.
got something to eat and had a granola bar for dessert, and I'm all ready to go.
You're all ready to go. That sounds perfect. We're just...
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I shared that out
How's
to...
Katie?
She's doing good. Katie's here, I'm sure. Katie, you here? She's somewhere. I saw her earlier. She's on the live.
And Lauren?
Lauren's running a little bit behind, but she's here. She's with the kids. I think they had a basketball game, the kids, tonight. And she said she's running behind. But everybody's here.
Okay.
Yeah. I spoke to Keith, and I send I send it over to your Sully's his wife, right? I send it to her.
Yeah.
Yep. She thanked me for doing that.
Yes. She's, Robert just got off the phone with her.
Oh, okay.
So she should be listening. Hi, Karen. If you're listening.
Is Karen here?
She goes by Ivon. Yes, she goes by Ivon.
Okay.
I call her Karen. Her name is Karen, too.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Been waiting for John to come in.
Yes, is he busy? He's probably busy. Keith is good. Everybody was excited to hear the book last night. That was amazing. He's doing good. I spoke to him a little while ago.
Good. Yeah. I just got off the phone, too. After I got off the phone with you, I was able to catch Tommy. So...
Does he know we're live? I shared it with him. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He is. Okay. He went back east and picked up his father's stuff and headed back out. He got home yesterday, I believe. When I was talking to him, his mom has showed up. They were working on the house, so I figured he would be busy and tired, so they were getting ready to eat something. His mom had brought something over for barbecue, so I just figured he's doing good, though. He needed the rest. they drove straight through.
Wow, okay. So is he back home or is he still at his mom's? At his dad's?
He's back home.
He's back home.
He's back
okay.
home.
Okay.
Yes, he's back home.
I have to catch up with him.
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I just let him know we were, I shared it like in the app. I didn't share it on a text message because I wasn't sure what he was doing. I shared it on the app. Usually that gets his attention. But I figured he was still busy because last night I didn't see him either. And he did say he would pop in if he was free. So we'll see. He knows he's welcome.
Yeah. I hope he does.
Me too.
I hope he pops in. Maybe he can, have a little break from, what's going on.
Absolutely. He needs it. He does.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's something we got to process and grief and loss, as we process that in our own ways.
Absolutely. I'm just reminding a few people.
And he drove his dad's truck all the way back out, so it was a lot. It was emotional. So
yeah,
and I can understand where he's at mentally. My dad was diagnosed with last week with Alzheimer's, so I don't know. I can't relate to what Tom is going through. Obviously, my dad's still alive, but trying to process that and how do I move forward and with that diagnosis, So right. I get it. It puts us in an emotional state that we're not used to. So as we process,
right,
we try to.
This is Global Telling. You have a prepaid call from.
Yeah.
An incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California.
If everyone could share this out, I would appreciate it.
Will be monitored and recorded. You have a
Is Paula here?
You will not be charged for this. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hi, Marge.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Trying to get ready for the holidays.
Right.
Trying to get ready for these holidays.
And how's that working out?
It's working out. Between my lives and then doing my family stuff, and I'm just trying to balance it all out. But I got this.
Yes,
I got this.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because those are those little troubles in life that turn out to be real blessings.
That's true. It's true. Yep. Yeah.
And I hope that somebody reminds me of that when I'm running around on the streets in freedom again.
That's
about
right.
Counting your blessings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So is Josh here too?
And we have Josh here too.
I'm here. I'm here. How you doing, John?
I am doing well since the last time that you and I talked.
Yes, it's been such a long time,
Yeah, and actually, our connection tonight is a lot better. I can hear him really clear. So however you have it hooked up tonight, Marge, that's the way to go. 'Cause it sounds crystal clear.
Good. I'm glad. I actually have a better speaker. I have to, a better microphone. I took out the big microphone. Mm-hmm. I have to use earphones in my ear, but I have a microphone that really does the job. So I only use it. I learned that if I do it for these kind of lives, I don't have to use it every day. But if I use it for you guys, I noticed that everybody could communicate better. So this is what we're going to do from now on. Yeah. Yep.
And that's why you are the boss, because you have all the tricks of the trade. So that works out great.
Well, my daughter does help me with all this, I have to say. She helps me get it together.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, and here we are on a Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And how's the weather where you're at?
Oh, it's beautiful. Everybody else, it's a shame. It's really cold, but we've been 75. It's been tonight's cloudy, but today was nice and sunny, really warm. It's perfect weather here in Florida. This is a good time of the year.
Yeah, it actually got pretty cold. Yeah, well, I was gonna tell everyone that's listening that today it got really cold here too. It got it was about, I want to say, probably about 71 degrees. So yeah, it was real chilly outside.
Oh, really?
That's a joke, by the way. That's a Southern California joke.
Really?
That's a San Diego joke.
Yeah, because guess what? I'm hearing people are telling me it's 10. It's like Lauren. It's like I know they have snow. Some people like. But it got cloudy tonight. They said it was going to rain, but it's Florida. It's whenever. And people think we get rain every day. We really don't. We can go a couple weeks without rain. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't get any rain in San Diego. Wow. Considering.
You really don't?
We don't. I mean, we cry about it when it does rain for like half a day or maybe a day, but we don't get rain.
Wow.
It's really non-existent compared to even you know.
Right. Yeah. I know a lot of people are getting snow, like a lot of snow right now, and I don't miss it. I really don't. I have to say that. Yeah, I don't like the cold anymore. Yeah.
Tommy said he was just when he was coming back from South Carolina.
Yeah.
He said he was driving through 9-degree weather, and he said it was so freezing. It was unreal. His diesel was freezing. He said, I don't want to be in 9-degree weather again.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I'm personally spoiled now. So yeah, I much prefer where we're at right now than being in the freezing cold. However, I don't mind the snow as long as you can get warm afterwards.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. My daughter took me to a show like 2 weeks ago, and it's actually an ice show, and it says dress warm. It's really cold. It can get to 9 degrees, and I'm like, come on, it's a show. It can't be that bad. And they give you it says to wear a hat and gloves, and they give you coats there to wear. And I'm like, come on. So I humor them, and I dress warm. I bring gloves, and I'll tell you what, I was so cold. I couldn't wait to get out of there with gloves. And it's just a show here in Florida. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was like, I will never go to this show again. You walk through, and it's all ice sculptures. And I was like, I enjoyed it. She took me and my grandson. We loved it. It's the Gaylord ice show, and I will never go again. Thank you, but no thank you. Done. My hands were so cold. And you know what? I was going to go live, to show everybody, but I was having so much fun having family time. I didn't do the live thing. It was just me, my daughter, and grandson. So cold. And I was like, I'm done. No more.
Wow.
Couldn't wait to get outside in the Florida heat. My grandson said, could we go home and build a fire? And I'm like, we have a fire pit. I'm like, we live in Florida. Once we get out of these doors, we will be warm again. So, yeah. Yep. So it was good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But, yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Here we are with the heaters on, and everybody's in here burning up because it's supposed to be cold, and we're in the middle of December having 72, 73 degree weather.
Yeah.
Beautiful outside.
I still have my air conditioner on. I never have heat on. I have my AC on all year round. Yeah.
All right.
This call and your
So
telephone
you're
number will be monitored and
13
recorded.
you're at 13 minutes and John's at 8. So do we want to like do the call
Okay,
back when
well-
you're ready? And could everybody share this out? I would appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, Josh, you wanna call back so that we're both on the same time frame?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So we're gonna call back so that we're both on the same schedule.
All right. That sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye. I was trying to share it out. Could somebody share it out to Parker? I can't get it on this phone. I don't know why. To Parker. I was trying to get it to a few people. And if you know a friend that wants to hear about DV, and you want to share it out, it would be perfect time. We're going to get started in a few. Crystal will be joining. I know a few people. I just got notified that I'm live. I've been on since 8 o'clock. It just notified me of the live. It's so crazy. And then we'll see. I know there's a few lives going on. So we'll see. We'll just keep going. And thank you everybody for joining. We do this so they call back together and I can answer it at one time.
Link, you have a
There we go.
prepaid call from
Josh Burcham.
This is an incarcerated individual at the MargeC Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call.
There we go.
Thank you for using
Hello.
Hello. Perfect.
All right.
We're both on the same
Oh,
time.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, almost right on the money.
You're not kidding.
Yes.
You couldn't time this any
Good.
better.
Well,
Yeah.
we're starting to get the
All
hang
right,
of this.
John, are we
you know?
ready to get started, buddy?
Yes, sir. Why don't you go ahead and start? I don't know, kicking the can down the road.
I like that.
Okay, Marge, you got anything you want to say? You want to start us off, or?
Yeah, so, all right, everyone, I want to introduce to you, our friends are back again. So Josh and John are joining us. We're going to be talking about, this is part 2 of the domestic violence we were talking about. I know you guys love when Josh and John are here, so they're going to continue. We're going to do part 2 of this conversation. So take it away. Oh, they're all saying hi, guys.
Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. This is Josh. Tonight we're going to kind of pick up where we left off. We were talking about trauma and the effects of trauma and how it manifests in our adult life from our childhood. In the past, we talked about domestic violence in our home, which stems from our ACEs, when we go back and look at that and how that all comes into it. We're going to start off tonight with domestic abuse and what that actually looks like, and kind of go over some control, what that is. We went over the power and control wheel last week, real briefly about those things. If we went when we went back to what are some warning signs of abuse in a relationship, also some personality traits, and kind of covered the domestic violence wheel. John did a really good of going over what that abuse looks like, those eight areas of that power control wheel. John, you want anything to add to that?
Well, no, I think you covered the. I think you kind of gave a really good overview of it. But I would like to say one thing now, and I was thinking about this when Marge was talking about going to the ice show, and I was just thinking that we're talking about real people. So anyone that's listening right now, I would like you to just real quickly point to yourself. And just take a moment and actually point to yourself. My guess is that you pointed right towards your heart. Most of us, in fact, every time I've asked this, I've never seen anybody point to their head. And even though that's where all of our thoughts and thinking and like that's actually kind of where our self, resides, most people point to their heart. And the reason is because, we're emotional people. We're feeling people. And that's where our person, that's where our emotional being resides. So when somebody says point to yourself, we point to our heart. And that heart gets hurt. And I just want everyone to know that you're in a really safe space right now because both Josh and myself and Marge, we're advocates for healing and we're advocates for people who really, we really want people to be the best version of themselves. So with that being said, you can actually put a hand on your heart and know that you're in a good place. And hopefully you'll gain something out of what we get to share tonight. And I would encourage anybody that's here in the space to, if you have a question, if you have, just anything that you want to share, please, come right up and share it. So with that being said, I will hand it back over to Josh because I know that he is eager to share some good stuff with us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if anybody has any questions or anything before we get started, we're happy to answer them or try to attempt to answer them anyway. Last week was great when we had Parker come in and ask the question about, what to do. And John was absolutely wonderful in getting some information as far as numbers and stuff like that. So please feel free to come up in the box and Marge at any time. If there's a question, please feel free to just chime in and let us hear that question.
Absolutely.
All right. So then with that, we'll get started. When we talk about domestic abuse, and here we are talking about what that looks like, speaking in the terms of relationships between a man and a woman. So, but also before we get into that, John and I were talking about this today. It's all forms of domestic violence happens between siblings, your parents, it's not just watching the man and woman. And when we talk about that, what we see in the home, we tend to mimic throughout our life if it isn't corrected. And that's what we're trying to bring the spotlight here tonight and in these talking about domestic violence and what that is and how all forms of abuse is not acceptable, right? But also to look at all forms of domestic abuse are meant to gain and maintain control of another person. Domestic abuse is a mechanism to acquire that when we're in a relationship, and it isn't a healthy thing. As an abuser, we're trying to gain that control to enforce a distorted view of what relationships and how the roles of men and women should be, right? And this is why it's so important to examine the actual act of domestic violence in these different contexts of what it is in the lifeline and how it happens. It doesn't just manifest itself. We learn these behaviors from what we see as children or, in our teenage years. So the abuse, it doesn't stand alone. It's inflicted in the result of a core belief that was formed from a trauma that the abuse suffered most often as a child. The varying forms of domestic abuse is the mechanism to live according to those beliefs, as distorted as they really are, because when we don't know what
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So as an adult, when one enters a relationship with the expectation and desire to have a relationship where one is in control, and it's seen in the power control relationship, perspective.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And with that, one has the desire as to what that role is and the role of their partner should be. This begins with tactics to force another person to comply with abusive expectations and desires. Varying forms of that abuse begins well before the physical violence actually manifests itself in the relationship. And that's kind of what John had talked about last week, right? We have emotional, we have verbal, financial, using the children and all those things. And it progresses into physical abuse, right? And that's what we're kind of talking about tonight, is trying to, interrupt that and show signs of what this stuff is, so we can make a conscious decision to change those things. If one is being the abuser, but also be aware of those things as a victim. That's why it's really crucial to acknowledge the different ways of committing domestic violence in any relationship between siblings, mother, child, even when we were kids fighting with our neighbors, the kids we grew up with, that's a form of domestic violence. It is domestic violence. So when we try to see these other forms and how we must eliminate them if one desires to change, to have healthy relationships. And we got to attack that at the very core of the individual, and that's where those core beliefs, So as we're doing that, we have to take a look at some things that where does this come from, right? So why do we want to control another person? And that's what the very act of domestic violence is. That is the intention as the abuser, is to get someone to do exactly what you want them to do. And it's not because really what someone else or what their partner is doing. At its core, the abuser wants things his way or their way, regardless of what it is. They want people to do things, speak, and act as they want them to. As we learn these things, as I can speak for myself. As a child, I learned that you could use power and control through being loud, being verbally abusive to somebody, and posture may be the way to get somebody to do it without actually being violent. And they, as an abuser, it becomes blaming and doing these things because it's not my fault, because if you would have done this, I wouldn't have had to do that. And we know today, I know today, and I understand that is not true, right? Control is both the underlying reason for the decision to be abusive and use these tactics, and secondly, in and of itself, is abusive, right? So when we have to ask ourselves, when we're looking at this, what are we trying to do? And that's where gaining power and control in unhealthy ways is unhealthy in all relationships, right? When we use that, it dictates thoughts, feelings,
and call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We had talked about this prior, that when we talk about, I'm going to go back to anger real quick, because that's what pops into my head for relapse prevention for myself, right? I have a thought, there's a triggering event, I have a thought, and I have an action. And that's where we want to disrupt this, how it dictates these things, because we want to unlearn what it is that we know, right? Because these views flow directly.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Which it comes out of me by what I believe, my core beliefs are. And these are directly related to trauma and what I saw. So it's a lot more than just having a relationship and understanding like what's going on, how one should act, because of these distorted beliefs, they show up, and when we don't get what we want, we get frustrated, so we get angry, and we're start asserting this dominance in many, many different ways that aren't acceptable. It's not being healthy. It's not being lovable. It's not being compassionate. It is showing a complete, utter lack of self-worth about the other person, right? And it stems from the low self-worth in the abuser, that person thinks that they're not worthy or they're a failure. So these things come from these horribly damaging feelings that is created from shame and trauma from our past. And I go back to the ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences, really comes back into these are the lies that were told to us, and they're traumatic. So when we try to have a relationship where power and control is there, it confirms a predisposed belief of who we are at that time. You know, and with that, when it comes into that, we look at this crap that comes with it, and I'm just going to call it crap because it's so destructive about what's happening, right? When we talk about
You have 60 seconds remaining.
the cycle of domestic violence and what that looks like,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Wow.
It's John. How about we call back if we can get this right on point?
Okay. You betcha. Let's do that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. They will call us right back. All right, everyone. Welcome in. We have Josh and John with us. We're talking domestic violence tonight. How's everyone doing? Let's see. Okay, so we're just trying to keep the calls so that they call in together and they hang up together. It's just much easier to control the calls. I'm trying to get Parker in here so we can see how her friend's doing. I don't know why I can't find her account. Like, on my other phone.
You have a prepaid call
I
from
know, they're doing
Josh Burcham.
an incarcerated individual
I think
at
because some
the
other
MargeC
charge will
Jonathan
change.
Correctional Facility, San Diego,
That's
California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call,
I know.
say or dial
Okay.
5
I
now.
thought it was just me.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right.
All right, you're back.
Is John in?
Not yet. That's
Okay.
yeah.
We'll wait for John because it's a perfect way to get into
Absolutely.
the cycle of violence, right? And especially for domestic violence when we talk about this. And really pay attention to well, I'll let John break this down and goes into other things and see if you've ever noticed this in your life on either side of the coin, right? Maybe as a kid.
This is
even
Global
with
Tel
my
Link.
brother.
You have a prepaid call from
Lord.
an incarcerated individual at the MargeC Jonathan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Okay.
All right. Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
So that's like so we were talking about the getting into the cycle of domestic violence, right? When we have the cycle of violence, period, and how it happens. And speaking of domestic violence, when we talk about it, it's cyclical, right? And it gives a false appearance that has been stopped or corrected. And it has different cycles, right? We have the tension stage as we, things are building up through resentments, assuming these things, effective communication breaks down and we get frustrated. And then it's like a Coke bottle as you're just shaking it, whether it happens today or for some people, it can happen in a very short burst of time. And when that happens, that brings us into the next stage, which is explosion. And that could be just a simple verbal barrage of, cuss words or belittlement and all those things, or to physical violence, right? And then we have the honeymoon stage. So John, if you, in that stage, oh, I will never do this again. I'm so sorry, and almost kind of blaming it and saying, oh, it'll never happen again. And then it just keeps repeating itself. And after the first time, it becomes more and more almost easier.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And the time between that actually becomes shorter between the cycle. John, did you want to give a little in depth about
chime in
the stages? Yes, if you want to chime in, please.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, because I mean, you brought up some really good points, especially when it comes to that the cycle of domestic violence, right? Because I think these are stages that most people can relate to. If they haven't seen it in their own lives, they've seen it, reflected in TV or their friends, or most of us have had some experience with this where you have there's that tension building, there's an explosion, then there's that honeymoon, and it just seems to be this cycle. One of the things that I really kind of wanted to, and you had Josh had spoken on this a little while ago, was the fact of before we talk before I go into some of the ins and outs or the stages that people go through in dealing with violence and abuse, is the fact that domestic violence and domestic abuse is applied to all abuse. It's not just between a husband and a wife, or spouses, or domestic partners, or any of those kind of things. It really is any kind of abuse with somebody that we know, and any kind of violence towards somebody that we have a relationship with. You get into a fight with the neighbor. That's a form of domestic violence, and that comes from someplace. And I think that Josh did a really good job of reminding us of our adverse childhood experiences. That these are maladaptive and dysfunctional coping skills that we've learned in order to deal with triggers in our lives. And because they're so, because being, dysfunctional things that we've learned means that we can also unlearn them. And I think one of the blessings of having had some time to introspect is really kind of being able to dissect some of this stuff. But I also want to remind everybody that's out there right now that if you're in a relationship, no matter what type of relationship that is, you should be treated like royalty. You should be treated like a princess, because that's how normal life should be. Josh and I come on, by MargeC's grace has invited us here, and but typically we're talking to men in prison that have been not only victims themselves, but have victimized a lot of people. And, so we have a different lens that we see things through. And sometimes it is a really, really ugly lens. And one of the reasons that we're here is because we actually want to engage in some justice with this. And what I mean by justice is why is say cheating on your spouse so wrong? Because that by the way is a form of domestic violence and abuse. And the reason is because it's an injustice towards a spouse, towards a partner. And so when we talk about restorative justice, we actually talk about restoring people to that place where things are just, and there's some goodness there. And typically, Josh was just going over the cycle of domestic abuse and violence. The tension builds, there's an explosion, then there's a honeymoon phase, and I can appreciate
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That model, because it really reflects on us as what defines us. What is, what should say a man be? And a man should not be violent and abusive. So these discussions really shine a light on that. And in the same way, how are we supposed to behave? Because this model shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be normal when you feel the tension building and then some sort of abuse happens and then you're looking for that lull, because then it becomes normalized behavior. And this is not normal. This isn't the way life should be. And as we get a little bit further along tonight, if you recognize some of these signs, I really, really implore anybody that's out there to seek some help and really get to up. That Marge has the hotline numbers, and there's usually local numbers, but really you're not alone. So if there's, by all means, you have some questions, jump in the box and let us hear them. So with that said, I'd like to talk about. I'm thinking about more along the lines of what the stages that we go through when we encounter abuse. And this is actually when we encounter any kind of abuse or any kind of violence or really any kind of like unjust actions toward us. Being victims, and this is kind of an older model, but it's pretty straightforward. There's 3 stages that victims of abuse go through. That first stage is the impact stage, and it happens at the moment of, like Joshua was just describing, the cycle of violence or of domestic violence. It happens during that explosion, and it can actually be anything from yelling to the physical interactions, the physical violence, punching, kicking, those kind of things. And the impact stage is the first stage that a victim goes through. And it's characterized by like shock and denial, loneliness. In our classes, we call this the OS phase, right? This is that place where
This
like
call and your
nothing makes
telephone
sense.
number will be monitored and recorded. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
There's a lot of confusion. It's not the time for like rational, straight thinking. And this is when victims tend to be the most disorganized in all of everything that's going on. The second phase that follows this, so we have the impact. Then we have a disorganization phase, right? And in the second phase, it's really a time when like it's a time when that's kind of this moment where victims fall into what we call a recuperative rhythm. And this is a time when like things aren't going back to normal, but it's a little bit better time for clear thinking, trying to make sense of what's just been going on. This is right after the explosion when you're just entering this kind of honeymoon phase also. And so in the second phase, it's a time when you're able to address those issues a little bit more in depth. When you're able to kind of see the things that led up to violence or the crime or whatever the explosion was, and then that's followed by the third phase, which is a reorganization phase. This is that time when victims kind of try to put their fragmented lives back together, and even though there's no real normal, it is a sense of normalcy. And it's at this time when people can actually like make those choices to be, to get stronger, seek help, or fall right back into these cycles. And it's at that stage, that reorganization stage, that last stage, when we have the opportunities to think a little bit more clearly about our choices and our actions, and how we want to move forward. Last week when we were talking, we had that question of like, what happens when you have children involved? What happens when you have, when it's not just you? And during this reorganization phase, that's that time when you're able to balance those things out. And sometimes during any one of these 3 phases, a trigger, a familiar sight, sound, something can happen to either you or the abuser. And you can fall right back into the cycle again. So it's really important to not only have the knowledge of it, but to be able to address it. And as Joshua pointed out earlier, we look at this through what they call a CBT, a cognitive behavioral therapy kind of format, where there's, it works in a cycle. There's some sort of triggering event, something happens. Then we have certain thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that follow. This gives us an opportunity to interrupt whatever it is, this functionality at any time. Now, for those that are being abused, some of these things overlap so quickly, you might not feel like you have an opportunity to do anything. But I want to assure you that you most definitely are not alone. And you're going to hear this theme a few times tonight, because we want to make sure that anybody out there does not feel like they're isolated, because one of the telltale signs of an abuser, a domestic abuser, is they want you to feel like you're isolated and that there is no one out there to help. So keep that in mind as we kind of discuss these things. And none of this stuff should be normalized at all. Josh, you want to add to this?
No, you covered that really well.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
When we come back, I would like to just recap on the honeymoon stage, because it kind of ties into denial, right? We use that stage as a way to, deny the facts of really what's happening, through different tactics. So
when we come back, we do have a question. So I'll hold it for when you come back, because it's going to hang up.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Okay. All right. The phones were going to hang up because every 15 minutes, Texas. So as soon as they call back, we're going to address the question. So, and anybody's welcome to come up in the boxes to talk, but I will address, because they have to call back every 15 minutes. The phones only allow them to talk 15 minutes. They are, Kara, Josh and John, they're great. Texas, that's, I hear that so many times.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from an incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged. Monitored and recorded. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
We are back.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
John, too?
Perfect timing.
I know, right?
Perfect. Yes. I was just thinking, John, when you were saying that, right, in the honeymoon stage when we're there, and it happens so fast, right? And usually abusers of any kind, when we're talking about it, are very manipulative, right? And of course, when we're in this distorted thinking comes denial on many factions, whether it's substance abuse, domestic violence, criminality, gangs, any of that stuff, right? We don't have a problem, everybody else does. I believe that for many years.
Right.
I didn't understand the common denominator was me.
Hey, Josh? Josh, yes. Let me interrupt you real quick.
Sure.
Because Marge, didn't you say you said you had a question?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, let's do that first, because I have a feeling that Josh is going to be able to answer this with this next, because he's starting to talk about denial, and I have a feeling it's probably going to tie in here pretty well.
Okay. So, all right, let me go back up, only because there's other remarks underneath. So how do we help a loved one who don't want the help, but they are the abuser? They're in denial. I just want to get that right. How do we help a loved one who don't want the help, but they are the abuser. They're in denial.
Well, man, John, I think I kind of, that's exactly what Josh was going to talk about. Josh, you want to tackle that one?
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, well, first to try to answer their question, right, this is where when kind of exactly what I was saying, right, being the abuser, we don't want to take responsibility. We don't have a problem, you know, the significant other or the partner in the relationship is causing all this dysfunction. You know, and excuse me, in order to make any progress in curbing and eliminating domestic violence, the abuser must break through a deeply rooted denial system. Denial is what keeps this going, right? We don't want to look in the mirror and see who we really are, and that takes a deep reflection, self-reflection into that. So getting someone to understand that takes where empathy and compassion. John and I are part of something now, peer support specialists here in prison, and we are able to connect with others because of our lived experience. John and I are on both sides of this coin, being victims of domestic violence as children. This is what we saw in our home. I mimicked this behavior, and it wasn't until I was really able to look at it from that point, and it happened. Reaching them is just not. John, help me if I say this wrong, because I'm gonna. You know my brain. I'm just gonna spit this out. This is how it is. We don't want to see the harm that we're causing other people until someone can actually walk us through that instead of talk down to us or about it what's happening, right? And that's where that empathy and compassion comes in, to meet them at their level of, I get it, I understand, I have been there. I went through these stages as a child, I went through these stages as an adult in order to understand what I saw. And denial is a natural defense coming from painful realities. And when we look at that, for me, it was getting to a point where I looked in the mirror and I saw myself for what I was. I was a product of my childhood, but I was also a violent person and a domestic abuser. And even though it was profoundly painful and shameful, I spent years in denial. From my drug addiction to my violence to my criminality, my criminal thinking.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I was justifying my behavior. I was rationalizing it. And this is where, when we get to these parts of denial and to understand these things.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's a delicate dance, right? When we hold the mirror up to ourselves, and usually it's difficult, and we want to break this cycle and reach the individual, the abuser, in a way that is non-threatening. I know this sounds kind of contradicting, but you're trying to reach them on that human level. That it's not what the hell are you doing? It's what the hell happened to you for you to be able to do this, right? And that's where you want to help me out there with that, John. And if you can add to that.
Sure. Well, and as you're, because I see, and I think you kind of touched around that really, really well, in the sense of, so, what do you do? In essence, the question is like, what do you do when someone's in denial, right? And I think that from 2 points of view. One is, if the person that is, it's really easy to be an abuser and justify or blame or minimize or comparing or even dehumanizing someone else. Those are all methods of patterns of denial. And I think that if somebody is in abusive relationship and you're one that's trying to offer help to them, I think the very first step that you should do is be available. I mean, just being present and modeling someone who cares does wonders for other people, for the people around you. That's at the core of really of what we do in here. It's just being available for people. Because, hurt people. And what we want to do is we want to stop people from being hurt and from hurting others. So I think the first step is to be available. Now, a practical step as far as, if you know somebody that's in an abusive relationship or the abuser or, being abused, I think that part of being available is helping them to see it if they don't actually see it. If they are exhibiting these patterns of denial, like rationalizing themselves or someone else's behavior, or taking the victim stance, saying that, they were victimized as a kid, or I'm being victim, or I'm the victim here. That's really on the abuser end of it, or even minimizing it, saying that, it's not that bad, when any sort of abuse and violence is that bad. Comparing, to other acts, like, he just yells at me, whereas, O.J. Simpson killed that person, comparing, apples to oranges, trying to minimize, right? And then, like, objectifying, like, and when it comes to domestic violence, objectifying or dehumanizing is, one of the biggest forms of denial. So being available to show that, being available and making yourself available to show that these patterns of denial are showing up in someone that you care about, whether they're the abuser or the one being abused, I think is really important. And then on the other side of it too is, as a really practical way of trying to open up the eyes of someone, is a method that we call, playing the tape back, right? Or playing it through to the end. So you start off by saying, okay, if this is happening, well then what would be the next logical thing that happens? Say, he's yelling at you. Oh, he yelled at you. So what happens if you don't do what he says? Well, then he might throw something. Oh, well, what happens if he misses? Or what happens if he hits you? Or whatever. So you play the tape through for this person in the hope that that'll actually, start to make sense. And but you do this in the most loving and kind way, unless they're actually being like, if there's physical danger there, don't be afraid to call the cops on them. I mean, there's so much violence in the world that somebody has to do something. And so we want to empower people to do something, but it's hard to throw a blanket over it all and say, this is what you do every single time. I would start off by being, active and proactive in making yourself available to that person and try to show those patterns of denial. And start with that. So, I don't know, Josh, did you have any other thoughts on that?
I said thank you. That helps so much.
Well, yeah.
I said thank you.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I'm going to be logged out in 2 minutes, John. So do we want to hang up and make sure you hang up the phone call and log out and call back in? We'll pick that up there where we just left off.
Yep. Why don't we do that? We'll log out, log back in, and call back. Give us a minute or so.
Okay. You got it.
Okay. Before we're kicked off.
That's right. I got it. Okay. All right. See you.
We're going to log out.
Okay. All right. They actually have to log out and then call back because their tablets log them out. I wish they had the half hour. That would be amazing. I hope they start that for them. So their tablets only let them call in for 15 minutes, and then within the hour they have to log completely out and sign back in. So they'll call right back. Oh, that didn't log out. But how's everyone doing tonight? I could listen to these two talk all night, I'm telling you. and they can bounce off of each other. They're amazing. Do you ever have joined groups? Join groups in which way? So they're both in, so you can come up if you want and you can talk. You could come up in the box. They're both in Donovan. Oh, that was it. They're both in Donovan prison in California.
A call from.
But I don't have any groups, not
An
myself.
incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be... Thank you for using
And if you have any more questions, feel free to come up and ask. You're more than welcome. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Marge. Was that, is John there?
Not yet. No. Not yet.
Yeah, hopefully he can get back in a timely fashion. If not, I'll call back if it takes him a little bit longer and we can get back on time.
Yeah, because I know when you sign out. Actually, so the person who asked the question, so they said Texas, so they're from Texas, I'm assuming, right? And they said that their calls last a half hour. They don't have to do 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, their calls.
Geez, I wish we could
I know,
send that OP and
yeah.
Get it instead of a half an hour. 15 minutes, a half an hour. I wish they would just get rid of it and you just make a phone call. They can listen in all they want, you know.
I know, because it's not like what we're paying for it, you know. It's like, here's John.
Yes.
Yeah.
An incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and
I
your
tried
telephone
to
number
share
will be
this out
monitored
to
and recorded.
Parker, but I can't find her account tonight.
You will not be
Kind of
charged
strange.
for this. Thank you for using Global
Yeah, I know. I
Link.
thought that was strange. Someone else tried it also. Hey, John. John's here now.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here.
So we were just talking because the person who asked that question was from Tennessee, and they have 30-minute calls at the prisons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
they're lucky.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know the strange thing is that the time limit on the calls is for us at least is a carryover to the days when you had to pay for every call. Right. Now our phone calls are free.
Free, yeah.
So we don't get charged for the calls anymore. Right, but back in the day they kept it that way so that you didn't just completely kill the phone bill.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, it's Texas, not Tennessee, Texas.
Okay.
I just looked up Texas. Yeah. It is, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought it wasn't it years ago? I thought because you had to use they had to use the phones, like the pay phones too, and to save.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So 15 minutes was to give everybody the opportunity. Now that we all have state-issued tablets,
right?
You know, we would love to be able to just have an unlimited phone call, so we don't have to keep calling back. I don't know. Maybe our system needs to be, updated.
Right.
Yes. Well, hopefully we were able to give some answers and understanding of what it is, because it's not easy. It's not easy to watch somebody be abused, or even when your loved one is the abuser, and how do you deal with that, right?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So when we look at the aspect of it, is there before we go on, is there any other questions?
Is there any other questions? She said thank you. That was so helpful.
Awesome. That's good. Yes. Because it kind of ties into victim impact, right? When we're talking about all of this stuff, right? When we see these things as a child, we are a victim of it, right? But also, what are we doing currently today as the adult who has all those adverse childhood experiences and is a violent individual towards the ones that he loves? And it's not an excuse. It doesn't excuse any type of behavior. And when we go back to understanding, right, having compassion and empathy to bring awareness to what that impact is on our victims as the abuser is what we start with, right? And it's a vital walk in our victims' shoes to give us kind of some clarity. But, and I don't know, see, it's different here in prison because we're charged with change, Marge. You know, we're seeking that change. We're looking for that. We were put in prison because of our violent acts against somebody. So it's not while I was actively doing these things, you know. Yes, we've been arrested for different types of crimes before we were sentenced to life in prison, you know, whether it be property crimes, shoplifting, under the influence, possession, assault, stuff like that, right? But in our active addiction and our active criminality, what would have changed us, right? I myself had been in and out of prison. I've been in and out of jail on a regular basis for 2 years before that and wasn't listening, right? Didn't care. And that goes back to that minimization and justification of what's going on until you smack a wall. And you kind of take that self-reflect. So when we're talking about reaching out to individuals who are actively abusing and being abused, we want to show them empathy, right? Because domestic violence isn't a one-time event that ends when that cycle ends. And it lives on in our victims. And it takes extensive work, and that healing comes to us in here,
right,
through talking about it, through people putting a mirror in front of it. We have accountability partners. We get people to call us on our bullshit. Why are you half-stepping? Like, you just call it what it is. This is what you're doing. But go back and figure out why. How can we bring that awareness to those of offenders here in prison, but also on the streets, to show that empathy for what the emotional impact is, especially when there's children involved, right? When we go back to talking about Parker and how that is when that child grows up in that home. Yeah, it is just perpetuating that cycle through generation, and that's what we want to interrupt here. And hopefully, we can bring some light to that tonight and in the future through all of it. Because when we talk about victims' impact, that impact comes in and it lasts throughout a lifetime, unless it's acknowledged and addressed and put positive coping skills and healthy strategies in place to mitigate those issues, you know, when we start about thinking about our thought processes and stuff like that. And so, you know, when we look at how the emotional impact comes into everything too, we've talked about this before, right? Domestic violence uses the physical, obviously. We don't want any physical violence or physically hurt anybody. No more victims, please, you know, no more. But when we talk about emotional impact, that seems to have a longer lingering effect that is more damaging through time than the physical part. And by no means am I taking away from the physical aspect of being abused. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to really accentuate the emotional impact that we do have, you know. And the secondary, when even if it is between, you know, the parents in a home, that child sees it, and that's a huge impact, and it just the child becomes a mirror of what's happening at school, with his siblings, and like in my case, my mother, I just started reciprocating the behavior that was done to me onto my older sibling and to her, and it just becomes normal. Violence becomes an answer to everything, regardless of what's right and wrong. I don't know any different, and what you don't know, and as a child. So when we go into those things, you know, thinking about what it is, you know, John, you got anything that you want to add? Not
to interrupt, Josh. When you brought up about being in and out of jail and going back and my girls will And I'm echoing, Josh, on your end. I don't know if there's something in the back, but it's fine now.
This call and your
We were
telephone
talking
number
about
will
this
be
and it
monitored
just
and recorded.
reminded me when you said about being in and out of jail. We were watching this today, so and didn't speak to you about it too much, John, but Josh knows. Well, going back to the case I was covering last week, Josh, about the parents who on a live, and I'm using that word only for TikTok, on a live their daughter and took the baby from her via C-section, Josh. So they arrested her, the father of that baby also. They arrested him for drug charges. So he got out. He got out of jail. And guess where he was today? He was back in jail. Last night he got rearrested. But for domestic violence last night. So I covered his arraignment. Yeah. I covered his arraignment today, and it was against his cousin. You know, he attacked his cousin last night, and he's behind bars. And the girls were saying, like, how do you keep doing this? Like, this is all they know. This is all they know. This family right now. And like, that's what we were saying. Like I said, that happened to me once. Look, I'm fortunate I was never had that problem. I was never in the back of a police car. Yeah. But I think if I was once, I would be scared to death, and that would be it. Like, that's me. But that's me.
Right.
Like, he just got out of jail last week, and he's back last night. I don't know. And it was for domestic violence.
I gotta tell you, we are surrounded by people that we say the same thing about, whether it's in here or, like out there. How is it that, that people go back to the same thing? And I'll tell you, it really comes down to, Josh had mentioned earlier that, that we learn these practices, we learn these things, and it comes down to coping strategies. It comes down to coping, these coping skills. And honestly, like violence, like so many other things, is a coping strategy that people use when they're faced with adversity in their own lives. And I don't say that to minimize it, and I don't say that to qualify any kind of criminal activity, whether it's domestic violence or property crimes or drug abuse. These are all methods of coping with the stressors in life. They're just really dysfunctional, maladaptive ways of coping. And what we're hoping to do is through these discussions and, hanging out with you, that, we're able to kind of share these concepts and ideas that, like, you don't have to rely on those. And not only that, but being able to recognize, like, the real dysfunctional stuff out there, because it affects a lot of people. Right. And, the simple fact that, like, here it is, the guy that you've been, this individual you've been covering in, for what, a week or two now, right. It goes right back out and does the same thing to someone else. It's like you're enabling this guy to go out and victimize another person. Yeah. And why is that? Well, it's because he's obviously, this individual has a tool that probably has worked for him before, this tool of violence or intimidation or whatever it is. Right. And I like to think of it like this, like, can you build a house if you only have a hammer? You absolutely can. It's just going to be a really ugly, messed up house because you can't put in a window with just a hammer. You need some other tools. Right. So we've seen a lot of folks that have these really ugly, dysfunctional houses because they don't have the tools, or they've thrown away the tools that are the functional tools to build something nice. And part of what Josh and I do, and you with all the different platforms that you're on, is really try to empower people with some tools, even if it's just perception, even if it's just recognizing things, even if it's just being able to say, listen, just be available to that person. We're trying to provide some other tools. Right. Like, one of the things that, and it's true, because one of the things that we come back to time and again is that if you are a victim of something, then, if you get to a point where, like, you're being abused, or you're the abuser, or you're, on any of those things, then remove yourself from the situation. Just if you're, whether especially if you have other people that are dependent upon you. We always think that we're the best thing ever until it's not. And the minute we remove ourselves from those situations, it allows us that space to think about it. Had that guy removed himself from that situation with his cousin, I'm sure he would have rethunk, actually going back and committing an act of violence. But,
absolutely.
It's a lot easier said than done. And that's why we kind of double down on having good strategies and stuff.
John.
Call back.
Go ahead. Josh. Yeah, I guess call back. Call back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll call right.
2% and charging. What's going on, Cindy? I'm sorry to hear that. Oh no. I didn't hear. My husband has 2%. So send in prayers, Cindy. I have 2%. Oh no, Katie. I want these calls to last 30 minutes.
This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from.
Now we have Jonathan calling.
An incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California.
Where's Josh
This
now?
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right.
Now we're waiting for Josh.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Finally, I showed up before he did.
That's
Usually
right. Look at that. Yep. I'll tell you.
That's right. And Marge, I'd like to while we're waiting on Josh, I'd like to add to that too, because as I was dialing, I was thinking, one of the things that you mentioned being available to people, and I think one of the biggest strengths and helps and tools that we can have is not only just being available, but actually surrounding ourselves with good people that encourage us, like you. You have so many people that listen to you, and you're so encouraging that it is such a blessing and such a help to people that those are those things where when I hear them, it's like I'm encouraged. Josh and I have a friend here who his name's Al. He lives downstairs from us, and his girlfriend actually is her name's Elizabeth. She listens to you, and she has encouraged him so much in his journey, and he in turn has shared those things with us. So just as the negative things can be perpetuated and hurt other people, people's positive influences, like Elizabeth's influence on Al, that leads to positive things in our lives, and the people around him. So it's we're here to really kind of sow those seeds of goodness. I mean, in my life, I had a doctor who helped launch the program that we're in here, that we do in here. Her name, Dr. Hauser. She is a super strong individual because of the adversity she's faced. We have another program sponsor, Gabe Rosales, who's another guy who's just phenomenal. And the more and more people that we have speaking these positive things into our lives and are able to come with lived experience, the more I think that people are able to realize when they see that dysfunctionality and maladaptive behavior, those bad tools, and go, listen, I don't want to be a part of that anymore. How can I change that? So I commend you, and I commend all those people that are a part of this great restoration and restorative journey, because it does matter. So I encourage anybody out there who is a builder and a creator to keep building and keep creating. And I know that Josh has something to add to this. I can sense it.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Bet.
Josh.
Yes.
There he is.
Yes. Well, when we're talking about, adding goodness and using positive coping skills and healthy strategies in our life, and that comes in, like John's saying, we get it in the strangest places at times. There'll be times I'll just be like, wow, that is just crazy how we learn from others, right? We're always a student, always. And when we all put our minds together, we become better, right? I've been on this thing, Napoleon Hill's theory of, the great minds before us working together to come out with a better solution. And that's where it's at, especially when we're talking about eradicating domestic violence. That is, very near and dear to my heart because of how it's really affected my life. And it is through other people giving us the platform to use our voice to elevate awareness. And that's where it comes into just really, really sharing our experiences, even sometimes as horrible as they are, to relate to that person.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
On both sides. And it's crazy how people, people come and go in your life, but some people leave that mark on your life of how to change and be a better person. And in prison, we meet extraordinary people that come from extraordinary circumstances in life, and we cross paths with them, and we're able to learn and grow from that. And John does a very good way of modeling, a lot of the things where we come from, adverse experiences, Prison is full of adverse experiences. When we wake up in the morning, we're not quite sure if our neighbor, how he's doing. So when we think about that and we can learn in positive ways to put that awareness out. And today, Marge, I asked John, I love this platform, Charge with Change. I mean, it can't fit us any better than, there's not another saying, we try to emulate that, and we thank you for the platform to be able to elevate our voice and give people the opportunity to make better choices in life, and not just on the abuser side, but just empower individuals to use their power of choice to get out of an abusive situation, stop being an abuser, those types of things, and it takes work to understand how do we change those coping skills, right? Those negative coping skills into positive ones, and what are they, And there's a whole bunch out there. Man, there's a ton of them, The one that works best for me is consequential thinking today. I think of, when I'm having a bad day, it could get real bad because I hurt people when I don't have control, and understanding what these new coping skills are or strategies that are put in place, There's a myriad of acronyms for, challenging thoughts and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
John, you got anything on that?
Well, it makes me think about how our decisions affect so many different people. How the ripple effect happens, right? Our decisions, and then our lack of decision or our indecision. There's just so many ways that I mean, think of it like this.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Just like Marge was, you're saying about how this guy was involved in this crime, even if just peripheral last week, and then a week later he's in jail over a different crime. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking how each one of these episodes, and Josh had kind of touched on this too, talking about the people that were victims at our hands. I myself, I never got caught for all the crimes that I've done, for, shoplifting, or, all the stupid things I did as a kid all the way into adulthood. I didn't get caught for everything. That means that there's a lot of people out there that were affected by the things that I did. We've been in this institution, and, here there seems to be on every yard here that we're at, there seems to be somebody who's, famous, whether it's, Sirhan, or, one of the professional skaters, or, here we have, Suge Knight, or, with Lyle and Erica Menendez, and those are the ones that gain this notoriety because of, the spotlight has been on them. But there's literally a few thousand other people here that have similar stories and similar effects on how many people have been touched and by their lives and their life experiences. And when we're talking about like domestic abuse and domestic violence, those things they're not just hitting on a cultural level because they're in the spotlight. They're hitting on a level that's inter-family dynamics. And those become really, really, I want to say they're really heavy, right? Because they have huge implications for how we live our lives. And then how our children and our children's children, or the people that witness it. Think of it like this, like in front of you, draw a circle, and then draw 5 circles around that circle, like a Venn diagram. And in the middle of that circle is the abuse, right? That's the crime, the injustice, the whatever the badness is in that. And then on the first circle, think about the effect that it's had on you. Think of the things that maybe you have felt because of this crime, be it, we're talking about domestic violence. Say it's an act of violence that you witnessed, or that you were a part of, or that was enacted towards you. Think of the feelings that you felt. What were those feelings? Was it maybe, anger, hurt? Were you physically harmed? Is there fear involved? Is there, a loss of money? Maybe there's nightmares involved. Maybe there's, a psychological trauma. Maybe there's PTSD involved with a sight, a sound, a smell that happened around, associated with this act of violence. So that's you in one circle. Then go to the left of that. In the next circle, think about your family, or your friends, or your children.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And think about the effects that's happened to them. The fear or sadness, or maybe the embarrassment of, mom or dad, having a bruise, or being a perpetrator of violence, or ending up in jail, like a lot of us have. Think about the things that fill that circle, right? The dysfunctionality that happens there, the shame, the hurt or anger, fear, especially if they've had violence acted against them. Now, look on the other side of this little circle, on the other side, and in that circle is
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The other person involved. If this is domestic violence, it could be the person that actually committed the act. What's going on in their lives? Because it can't be right. It's not like they have joy. It's not a good thing to. So there might be, maybe there's shame there. Maybe there's fear. There's control in the negative sense, power in the negative sense. There's got to be maybe some shame and embarrassment, their own anger issues, these negative things that fill that space. And think about the people that are around them specifically, maybe their own siblings or parents. And those fill another circle. So we have 4 of those circles kind of filled. And then on the very bottom, think of our community, because these have very real effects on our community. Think of the first responders that pick up, the guy and take him to jail, or think of the the first responders that have to deal with broken bones, or somebody at the hospital that has to witness this, or the folks in your community, your neighbors. All of this together, this big circle, these 5 circles around the center circle, that's the ripple effect of just one incident or a lifestyle of incident. It doesn't just affect the person, the 2 people involved. It affects and infects a whole community of people. And those in turn have other people that have little circles in their own, in their own little diagrams. And that ripples out throughout our whole culture. So much so that we have a culture that's based on, that looks towards offenses and looks towards, vindication and these things in such a way that it can be a maladaptive. It can be a very, very dysfunctional effect on those people around us. Now let's kind of play that tape back a little bit. And if we replace that bad thing that happened in the middle,
you have 60 seconds remaining,
with something good. Like I was just talking about how Elizabeth was, filled this, actually fills a space in our friend Al's life. And that so infects us that we're here talking about it, and it comes full circle. So by doing an act of goodness, we can kind of counteract some of this. Josh, you ready? You want to call back and then fill the space?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, then we'll call right back.
Okay, sounds good. All right, they'll call us right back. How's everyone doing tonight? Tapped out. I know, I got my tapper going. I dropped my phone, my 4th phone that I have over here that I have Marge in. Because I don't have a good phone to use. I have my old phone that I have Marge in. They're tagging tonight. I could listen to these 2. I don't know. He keeps bringing up Suge Knight. He better stop bringing up Suge Knight and bring him on instead of bringing him up. Who is the other guy he said was in there? A figure skater? I never heard of him now. I gotta look him up. Who is he? We gotta look him up.
Josh Burcham.
An incarcerated individual at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California.
Georgia.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Sometimes if you hit the button ahead of time, it'll work, but not all the time.
Call. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
Hello.
This is Global Tel Link.
Here we go.
You have a prepaid call from
Yeah.
an incarcerated individual at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be... Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
There we go.
All right.
Okay, we're
All
back.
right. Yes. Well, John, that was a wonderful description using the Venn diagram, because I love that, especially when we use this into... This is perfect into self-awareness, right? When we look at, put your same thing, use a Venn diagram, draw your circle in the middle, and that's you. And then I believe, if I'm correct, somewhere around, we could add more takeaway if we want to be really detailed. You can put 30 circles in that Venn diagram, right? And that's self-awareness of different aspects of your life. And that ripple effect goes through each one of those, right? From that event, that negative event of that first Venn diagram John was talking about. We're talking about self-awareness. So when we bring that into self-awareness, the same thing can be said in a positive light with the ripple effect from an event that we've stopped the cycle of violence and interrupted it and become something in a positive aspect of it. Because that's ultimately what we're trying to talk, what we're trying to do is interrupt our thought process from all of these years, from those ripple effects from childhood, adverse childhood experiences, and mimicking this throughout our life. And at some point, we have to stop that. And to self-awareness, when we're talking about last Thursday night and tonight, the dysfunction, and at its very core is the inability to be self-aware of oneself and the actions that they're doing, but also the breakdown in communication, because we didn't have that skill. It sounds so simple. We use communication every day. From being a baby, even before we could even speak, we were using body language to communicate with. For some of us, we've been communicating wrong since birth because of the environment we're born into. So when I go back to that Venn diagram and I start to be self-aware about all of these things, and when it comes down to my basic function of communication with others in my life, I was very unaware of myself and others. So that ripple effect is still affecting me. It's like when you throw a rock into a pond. You can throw a pebble and it's a big one, and it'll put little ripples off. But if you throw a good-sized, palm-sized...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
...into still water, it will reach the other side. It will. It may not be felt as a big wave when it hit, when the rock went in, but it's still... And that's how long that wave we're riding. So when we teach healthy communication, and it starts with effective listening and understanding what's being said, but also how to speak to somebody. And that comes into that Venn diagram of self-awareness. Do I understand my warning signs? What does that feel like? Feelings and emotions, right? Emotions are in the body and feelings are in the mind. So when I feel anxious, when I feel joy, when I feel sadness, and that's when, I had to start adding more circles to my Venn diagram about me and self-awareness, because I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't have those understanding of myself. So the opposite end of domestic violence or any abuse, especially physical abuse, is communication. We have to learn better communication. What does that look like, right? What is healthy communication? What does that look like in the ways of a relationship? Well, that's what we're talking about here tonight, right? Am I connected with my partner? Do I make decisions that are 50-50, comes with compromise? Understanding that negotiation and fairness is absolutely paramount to keeping that understanding together to make it work, because it's not always going to be my way, and it's not always going to be their way. But I have to figure out where you're at, first of all, so that...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And we have to be trusting and supporting. We have to have honesty and that accountability, right? When I look at things today, and I think I've asked Marge this question before, and she said her husband was her best friend. And it makes me emotional to think, how could I miss that? Where was that? And it's so paramount that you have to be friends, best friends, and be able to have that understanding that we're not perfect. And we have to meet in the middle. And tell me how you feel. Hurt my feelings before you lie to me. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how you feel, tell me. We can get through this because we're friends. Our friendship is stronger than whatever it is that we're going through. And it's so paramount when we're talking about domestic violence, because the abuser is broken from something that's happened in their life, right? And my needs don't come at the expense of another individual's dignity, that the integrity of that person is held in high standard. John was mentioning it earlier that when we have to place value in other people. And as a person who lived my life with domestic violence taking the forefront of it, and power and control ruled my life until I was 35 years old. So like John said, there's many, many, many people that have been affected by my negative behavior. not just for the crimes I'm in prison for. Right. So when we look back at that, and domestic violence is very near and dear to my heart. I try to have compassion and empathy, and I ask for understanding every day so I can be a better person. John mentioned it earlier. I try to be present today, and I fail at communication. I fail at asking for at understanding, but I'm a better person than I was 10 years ago, let alone 15, 20 years ago. And that's a huge win for me, to be able to just recognize these things where I lack that in my Venn diagram. So my Venn diagram today has 30 plus circles into it about awareness. I'm very self-aware of myself, and I understand who I am today and what are those risks and things that can cause that ripple effect to affect somebody for years on down the road. John, is that, you got anything to add to that?
No, well, yeah, of course, because, you open the door, I'm going to step right in. Especially when you have so many good points. One of the things that really resonated with me that Josh was just saying was really talking about you, Marge, about how, you did, you put out there the fact that, like your husband.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That he's been your best friend. And I think that there's so many people like myself that go, yeah, I want that same thing in my life. And I think that and I really want to commend you in this aspect too, because by you putting yourself out there and being so transparent, I think it helps those that are out there that may not have that same quality in their own life to go, yeah, I can aspire to have this quality in my life too. And so I do commend you for being so transparent and so helpful in that sense. And it also kind of comes back to like what we normalize in our lives. If we normalize and accept poor behavior, then that it becomes what we see around us. And I think that we really do need to kind of come back to that place where it's like, okay, you're making yourself available, and there's so many people that can model healthy relationships off of what you have going on. And I absolutely love that. I commend you for it, and I thank you for sharing that with all of us. And I think that maybe it might behoove us to take a minute and actually consider what healthy relationships look like again. We talked about this I don't know, it was like a month or so ago. We talked about, some of these things, but I think that now would be a really good time to kind of think about that. Like, there's equality, and you've mentioned it before, like, the fairness, the equality in your relationship, and we see those in healthy relationships. Those things are missing in the dysfunctional relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Non-threatening behavior, right? Yeah. Like just sharing that love and affection in a safe place.
Yeah. I mean, we're married 48 years. Respect. We have to be doing something right. I mean, communication, being friends first. And he'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because people ask, how are you together so long? And he'll say, we were friends first. Mm-hmm. That's what he tells you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And communication.
And I'm telling you, Mark, like, I'm jealous. I want that in my life, Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Yeah. So, I appreciate you sharing that. And then like the respect. I mean, even just your comments right there is like, that respect, being able to, have that that non-judgmental space. You're emotionally affirming to him, you're understanding, and those are things that I think that we as people should emulate, because that really lends itself to showing that you have a supportive relationship. And these are all those attributes of what really make up a healthy relationship.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I mean, and there's more. You know, there's like, you know, being honest and being, you know, holding one another accountable in that honesty. You know, being able to accept responsibility, and that's something that in abusive and, you know, domestic abusive relationships tends to lack. You know, the responsibility usually shifts to one party. There's a hierarchy, and it's not equal. And, you know, we need to be able to admit to our wrongs when we're wrong, and be able to, we have a saying when we do like our relationships class, that you try to not to criticize, but if you have to, you critique in private and you praise in public. And I think that you emulate that really well, because I mean, here it is, you know, you're praising your husband, and I don't know if he's listening tonight, but I don't think so. And so you're praising him in public, and I can appreciate that. And then there's those other like peripheral things to healthy relationships, as opposed to like the dysfunctional, abusive ones, like, you know, parenting in a responsible way, you know, sharing those responsibilities, you know, never being violent and abusive as a parent, just loving on the kids, sharing the responsibilities in life. And then I think one of the main things too that like delineates that kind of shoves a line right down the functional, positive, healthy relationships from the dysfunctional, abusive, violent, domestically relationships, is that economic partnership, right? I mean, we talk about all these emotional aspects of it, which are great, and they're foundational and they're important. But then there's like the actual living stuff that we have to get through, and having an emotional, an economic partnership, you know, where you know, those money-making decisions are done together. Those things like that, like making sure that everybody benefits from, you know, financial agreements and arrangements. Right. These are things that you know are, you know, really build healthy relationships, and a bunch of other stuff.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Absolutely.
So how about if we call back and kind of. All right. I'll call right back.
All right. Okay. Hi, Lady Jane. Everyone, welcome in who's just coming in. I could listen to these two all night, I'm telling you. And I love the way they bounce off of each other. I didn't think they remembered about me and Vince, but they do. I'll never forget when I saw John's picture. Not John. Never mind. Not John. Josh. I swore I knew him from somewhere. He has one of those faces. Even, oh God, who was it? Hope. It was so funny. I know, John. And John, every day, he'll write me one word, and it's like always encouraging. Like,
you have a prepaid call from
Josh will write me a book. Josh will just, I mean, John will just write, like, you're awesome. Just something fast.
San Diego, California.
Let me grab these.
An incarcerated individual.
But Josh will write you.
Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be. Thank you for using Global Tel.
Perfect. Wow, you couldn't time that any better.
No, that was right on cue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marge.
No, I said, and they do. No, everybody, we were complimenting you guys. Like we said, we could sit here and listen to you guys speak all night long. Like, great speaking voices. You feed off of each other. It's just amazing.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you for the encouragement.
I'm telling you, everyone in the chat, they absolutely love you guys. They really do.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
that's very encouraging.
Yes. John and I think a lot alike. We do. I'm very fortunate to cross paths with somebody that, you know, not only understands me, but we mesh real well together.
Yeah.
I can honestly say, in the short time that we've known each other now since March. He got here a week after I did, and
okay.
Even when we don't see eye to eye on something, it's never. I can't explain it. It's never been a challenged relationship. We're able to work through whatever the issue is, and sometimes we just have to agree to disagree, and we can move right on past it.
I love
a
that.
beautiful relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we function very well together.
Sure.
Josh, when you were calling back, I was telling the girls, do you remember the first time I saw your picture? I said, and John, you don't know this. I said, I know him. We used to hang out. And I never met him, but he had one of those faces. I'm like, we used to hang out together. I'm like, I never met this guy, but you have one of those faces. The first time I saw your picture, when Jamie sent it to me, I'm like, I know him. But see,
maybe it was
another life. That's right, another life, and we became such good friends. It's like, oh my God, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say, I will say this much about Josh. I'm gonna have to interrupt you real quick because you talked good about me, so I'm gonna have to pour it right back on you. And it is true. I mean, Josh. I agree with you, Marge. Like Josh is one of those guys. Like, wait a minute, yeah, we've hung out before, and I tell you, like, aside from the prison experience, our paths probably would not have crossed in the outside world. It would have been unlikely, but in here, we're like-minded, and it's like, and we both have a desire to help those around us. And so whatever like cultural divides might have been between us, those get thrown by the wayside. And that's why, when we're talking about like healthy relationships and stuff, we're not just talking about intimate partner relationships. We're talking about this is my partner relationship. This is a really good guy that we've got to join hands with, and with a shared goal of trying to build up those around us. And I tell you, Marge, I feel truly honored to be able to share this space with you and with all of your friends out there, who I consider my friends now also, by this shared experience. And it is just such a gift to be able to have this time together and to share some of the little insights. And I tell you, I walk away from this, and Joshua will, he and I will talk tomorrow about this, about how great it is to be able to share these things with people on the other side of the walls here. So I truly appreciate the space that you've created here.
Oh, and I appreciate you guys. I love that you join me, and I love the insight you give everyone. They look forward to it. They really do. Like, we've talked about it since last week, and it continues all week, and it'll continue into tonight. It'll continue to tomorrow. It does. You really leave an impression on everyone. And I was telling them, like, I talk to Josh on the phone a lot, and I know you're busy, John. And I was telling them, I said, like, when we message each other, you just give me, and I don't even know if you know this, a little bit of like you'll write to me something, and it's just that, like, be awesome, and that just sticks with me. And like, you just write that little bit that we write to each other, and we will write back and forth, and just those little words, and it's like you just stick with me all day long. You really do.
Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. With me. And I tell you, like Josh and I have talked about, because like we've talked about some light stuff, that like this subject is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And it's like for us, I mean, we can appreciate it, but we're like both of
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Like I for one am like a real goofball, and I mean I we have silly stuff all the time, and I joke and stuff, and so we want to share that too eventually, because I mean, like, I'm notorious for like uncomfortable dad jokes in here because we're in prison and everybody's supposed to be really tough, but it's like I find it very challenging to have that persona all the time,
right.
And I mean. Yeah, like I was telling Josh the other day, they called me to actually be a judge in this neck decorating contest, and I was having such a hard time, and because it ended up being a tie.
Oh no!
Get it? Get it? Neck decorating contest. It ended up being a tie.
It wound up being a tie. I got it. Oh no! Okay,
thank you for the sympathy laugh.
Yes.
And those are the type of those bad jokes. I can't help myself. So yes, we went the complete opposite end.
I love that.
Yes, I'm no longer a gangster tough guy. I've been exposed.
And that's what I let them know about you guys. It's like it's different. I used to do this before, and I had to stop it with someone else. And they were with guys that were serial, unalivers. I'm putting it that way to make it TikTok friendly. And I had like a couple guys I talked to, and they were like, "Are you sorry for what you did?" Nope. Would you do it again? Absolutely. And I was like, I can't do this no more. They were really like,
that's rough.
I had to walk away because they were like, Marge, we're so glad you walked away. And with the men you're dealing with now, and it's like, use our breath of fresh air to everyone. They look forward to this. And we don't only, we talk to you like we're talking to you now, but we talk about you all like during my makeup lives, and we're doing my missing people lives. We do that during the day, and the cases we're doing now. You come up throughout the day, like it's not just here now, and then
I wish
we're getting new people.
I wish our phones were both ways.
Right.
I wish our phone lines were both ways so we could give and receive calls, but it is one way, unfortunately.
I know, right? I hear you.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last week was really amazing.
How you doing over there, Josh?
Josh?
Pardon me, John? I'm
how are you doing over there?
I'm just truly humbled, you know me, I'm an emotional creature, so like I hear those things and I'm just humbled. I'm speechless.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I love that about Josh. We can make him speechless.
It doesn't happen too often, I'll give you that.
I will agree with that
one. I'm going to be logged out in 2 minutes. If you want to call, let's call back one more time and we'll finish this out.
Okay.
And I'll log out and call back. Okay, John?
I'm gonna let you draw this out, Josh, and I will see you tomorrow. And Marge, I will talk to you tomorrow because I will definitely be giving you a ring at some point if that's all right.
That sounds perfect.
All right, John.
And to all your, and to everybody that's been listening tonight, you guys make all of this happen, and I personally want to thank each and every person that's sitting out there because this is quite an experience, and like Josh said, it takes a lot to kind of jar our emotions, being where we're at. And it is the people out there that make that happen. So I'm humbled as well. So thanks, Marge. It's been a great night, and really appreciate you.
And they're saying thank you, John, and thank you, JMJ. See, we got our own name. We're going to start our own show. See. All right, John.
You're the boss. So you tell us what to do. We're going to show up.
I hear you.
All right, Marge.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, John.
Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
You betcha.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye. He's so awesome. He goes to bed, so he's the early bird, and we got the night owl. He'll be calling us back for one more phone call. John goes to bed early, but he also calls his son. He also makes calls to his children. He's making up for the lost time, which I love about him.
You have a prepaid call from
Josh Burcham.
an incarcerated individual at...
I never knew their names were recorded. I never knew this. I thought they were saying them the whole time. These are recorded.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call.
Exactly,
To
Georgia.
accept this call, say, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
You're back. Josh? Oh no, Josh? Hello? Hello? This sounds like I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. This is like the issue that I had with Keith's phone. I know, right, Georgia? This is what happens with Keith's phone. Josh, do you want to call back? Let me see. Yeah, it's not connect. It's there. He's there, but I don't know if he can hear me or not. We'll see. In the meantime, oh, wait till you find. I know, but and this is it's the tablets. It's the tablets. Wait till I show you what Angel picked up tonight. You guys won't believe it. Wait till you see what somebody dumped. While we're waiting for Mr. Look what somebody dumped. She's so upset. People dumped this. Look what they dumped near the prison. They just dumped the basket. Look. They dumped these cuties. Look at that. I know. See how they are? They dumped them just like this. Angel picked them up. I know, she said more. She said, people are cruel. Just found the mama and the babies dumped near the prison. She sent this to me. Is that sad? What is this? Like between that kitten that was dumped and now these poor babies? That's so sad. Oh, really, Kara? Angel, I know. I don't know how she affords to do all this, you know? So those prisoners are getting more dogs.
You have a prepaid call from
Robert Turner.
an incarcerated individual
Who's
at
he?
the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call.
We're going to talk to Robert Turner. I have no idea who it is.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hi, Marge.
Hi.
I forgot to log out, and I tried to call back, and it hung up, and now it wouldn't let me back in, so I used my cellular tablet.
I was like, who's this? Who are we talking to now? I was... I didn't know.
One of these days you'll get to meet him. We will have it.
I said I have no idea who's calling, but we're going to talk to him. Everybody's laughing. Hi, Sally. Yeah, you know what? We have to plan one to talk to him. So wait, so his wife is the one I text, right, tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Yvonne, his wife.
Well, yes. I know his wife. I don't know him yet.
He's Robert Turner.
Okay.
And he's been an extraordinary individual here. As you know, I don't really have cellies, so he's been. We were actually in the same prison 15 years ago together and didn't know it, because when we talk about level 4s, 180s, you don't program with other yards. That's a maximum security. So, but we were on the same yard for 2 years. Know a lot of the same people, a lot of the same cops. So,
well, maybe we can get him on with you some night. You know?
Yes, we can. We can do a bio with him and have a chat with him, and he has, a story as well. You know.
Okay. I just got nervous because I'm like, sometimes it'll happen, but I'm like, it has to be Josh. But we'll talk to this guy anyway. I'm always willing to take a call. Oh, no.
Well, I just want to say thank you to you, to everyone that's listening, Lauren and everybody for putting it all on and putting it together. You know, it's humbling. I like I said, I don't even know what to say. I appreciate everybody's feedback and wanting to listen to what, you know, we've learned about ourselves and how to become better people, and that's the goal. That's our goal, is to not only change for ourselves to be better people, but to be able to emulate that in our community that we do live in. And even though we are in prison, we have a community here.
Yeah.
We have individuals who are still struggling with addiction, with criminality, with violence, and we try to live, you know, show them through our lived experiences that, hey, you know, people can change. I like to think, God, first of all, for giving us this beautiful life, but also to give us a brain that's plastic, like silly putty. We can teach it new things. You can teach an old dog new tricks, and we can unlearn these bad behaviors and learn new behaviors.
That's
and
right.
A full, you know, life that has purpose and meaning. And I know it sounds, you know, for those that are still struggling, maybe with addiction or low self-esteem, and maybe shame, guilt, and some of the stuff for things that have possibly happened to you, or you've inflicted upon other people. And it starts with, you know, self-forgiveness and understanding. And we can change. We can be good people.
Yeah.
You know?
So we have some comments I want to read to you. So Cindy says, thank you, Josh. We love your lives with us. And Lauren said, this is why I start my day every morning with a motivational quote. See?
Yeah.
You don't, and I hope you realize how much, like you leave an impression with people. You really do. And I mean it. I don't just say that to say it, Josh. You and John, like, we talk about you after this live, and all good, trust me. And tomorrow and the next day, and new people come in onto our lives that we met. And I told you about the cases I'm doing, because I talk to you more.
And your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I talk to you more than I do most. You know, there's you, Keith, Manny. These are the guys I talk to most, and Brian. The handful that I talk to a lot, and you know what cases I'm covering. And there's new people that come on the lives, and they tell them, you know, they talk about you. Oh, wait till you hear Josh and John talk. Wait till you hear it. And they do. And tune in, Thursday night. And I told you how much your live got shared out, that you were, joining us. Like they shared the commercial out. It was, I was looked and I'm like, wow, it got shared out so much. I was shocked. But you really leave an impression on everyone. You really do.
Well, thank you. And that is, like I said, humbling. And I'm never lost for words, but I am now. I just say thank you. And I appreciate that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah. And I'm only laughing because Lauren says, so Josh, about Shug, LOL. The Shug is left on John.
Yes, that's on him, yeah, that's on him. That's a John subject.
That's a John
Myself,
subject.
Yeah. I'm speechless on that one too. I don't even have anything to add or take away from that. It's kind of not my circle.
Well,
say.
Lauren has questions, so she has like a lot of good questions for Shug. She's ready for him. So we're going to get right. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. And then I got to get on Keith because Keith send a message to Lyle Menendez a while ago, but he at the time he was like up for a board, and he couldn't do anything. And then we just let it go. I have to talk to Keith about it, but after the holidays, no hurry, now. Yeah, no hurry right now. So I'll talk to Keith. It just when John brought that up, I was like, oh, I haven't been on Keith about Lyle because, they were close. Him and Lyle are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in due time,
absolutely.
as everybody, especially I can only imagine what they're dealing with emotionally to deal with that.
Yeah, I know.
Both of them getting denials. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
When we can finally feel emotions and process things, it's not. Life isn't easy, Marge.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not. And it goes back to the conversation we're having, about trauma and abuse and on both sides of the coin and criminality. These were, unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Right.
They were tools that we use. And it's because life is tough.
Yeah.
And not having the proper tools, like John said, I'm a mechanic, so if I open a toolbox and I try to fix the car with a hammer, well, it ain't going to drive very far, if at all, so.
And for those of you that don't know, Josh is a mechanic. He really is.
Yes, I am a jack of all trades, and I'm a master of one when it comes to cars, so.
Yeah.
And I try to think of the human mind. My mind is how do I fix my mind?
Right.
Being through this journey of self-realization,
Right.
So, okay, well.
All right.
I just want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for tonight and the opportunity and for being a part of this space. And I look forward to doing this again. Marge,
absolutely. Yep.
Come back, and I know it's the topic right now in the cases that are out there about domestic violence.
You're not kidding.
Was asked,
Yep.
How are people going in and out of jail for these types of crimes? And when you're in the middle of active addiction and criminality and this stuff, you're stuck because you don't have the necessary coping skills.
Right.
And it really starts with educating our youth about emotions, how to regulate them, how to feel them, and stuff like that. Because this is what we see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be compassionate and offer. There's a huge movement right now in California, anyway, about getting into juvenile halls and also into the county jails and bringing. We talked about this about a month and a half ago, about trauma-informed care.
Yeah.
It is not what the hell's wrong with you. It's what happened to you.
Right.
And then when we start to understand what happened to us, we can see what we're doing to other people.
Right.
So when that message is being brought into the county jails, as it is in prison, and also to the youth, and I would love to be teaching some of the stuff that we do in the schools. It's great that our children read and write and can do these things at kindergarten and first and second grade, but they don't know how to feel their emotions. They don't know how to regulate them, and they don't even understand them. Let's teach them that first,
right?
And then get to the how to read and write. Because if I can share my pencil with you, maybe we can write something good.
Absolutely.
Instead of keeping my pencil from you.
Yep.
So.
And Georgia said, "Have a Merry Christmas."
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you. Happy holidays to everyone. And Marge, I will talk to you tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah. So tomorrow I have the 2 lives, and we have to so about Keith. Maybe you could jump on with through Jamie or whatever. I'm not sure. If not, we
Sure.
could. I'll send you a message, but we definitely let's talk on Saturday. Let's talk Saturday. A phone call, maybe. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for tonight.
No problem, Marge. Anytime.
And what next Thursday is Christmas. Oh wow, it came fast. Yes.
We're not going to do a Christmas special.
No, we're not doing no Christmas special. So we'll talk. We're gonna plan another one. So we'll pick dates for that. Yep. All right.
Okay. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening.
You too. Tell Robert thank you for using the tablet. I appreciate him.
Everybody says thank you, Robert, for allowing us to use the tablet in the time of my stupidity. Well, I said I was going to log out because it was going to log me out, and I didn't log out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My ADHD. Yes. All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, Josh. He's funny. Oh, God. He forgot to log out, so he got locked out, and Marge Loves Frogs is here. Girl, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, if Josh would do a live on Christmas if he could. Is Lauren here? Lauren's here. So, Lauren. So everyone, oh my God, this Marge Loves Frogs. Did you hear what Dan said? He was going to stop by next week on their ride. They were going to bring me a stuffed frog. I was like, that's okay, Dan. Lauren, what's our schedule next week? What's our schedule looking like? And the week after, look at this. We got 2 weeks. It's Christmas and New Year's. I have to talk to Lauren. I'll talk to her off the app. I guess we got a short week, right? But these guys are pretty awesome. They really are. And he has a cellie now. I didn't know he had someone that with him. Actually, he texted me tonight, and he asked me I had to text his cellmate's wife, and I did, and that was pretty awesome to let her know where we were at. So tomorrow night we have a good live. We have Dr. Nadine Crosby. She's joining us. She is the Keith's editor. She's joining us, the editor of the books. She will be joining us. Thank you so much for the roses. Did anybody catch it that I was sending roses to myself by accident? My tapper was sending roses from MargeC. I was like, are you kidding me? The tapper was sliding. And Keith Erickson will be with us, my co-host, along with Jonathan, the other Jonathan, who wrote his book. So they will be joining. You saw that, Kara? The tapper slid over and it kept sending roses because I had the automatic tapper on it. Go figure. So yeah, I couldn't believe. So Angel sent that to me tonight. Aren't these puppies beautiful? I can't believe. Why do people do this? So they just dropped these off and she picked them up. She took them to, of course, Wiley's Wish, and now they will be distributed to the guys. They will be distributed to the guys. I mean, who does that? There's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dogs. People are so mean. I know. Look at that. Aren't they? I wonder what kind of dogs they are. I'm going to have to run that through. I know they were just left outside. They were and they left them outside the prison, outside of, what's today, Thursday? I don't know what prison she was at. She wasn't at Soledad, and she wasn't at Pleasant Valley. I don't know where she was. But that's sad. She said she couldn't believe it. But yep, that's what happened. And she messaged me as soon as she found them. She's like, Marge, I'm going to have to get these dogs back to her place. She has to take them to the vet tomorrow. So that's vet bills. She does get them checked out right away. And then she will send them to the, she'll have them sent to, I think Brian could take one and Tommy at Soledad could take one right now because they just got, 2 dogs were adopted. And then she'll just, I don't know if Keith has Finn, but he can take another dog. I don't know if his training is done. I'm not sure. But it's really sad that they do this to, I don't know how people could do this to animals. Like my neighbor found the dog the kitten in the middle of the road, in a box. Like, that's sad. That's really sad that they do this to these poor animals. But okay, well, we're going to go over to the other app real quick. If somebody wants to comment that, so I don't have to say it, I don't want to get a restriction. Could somebody just type the other app? We'll go over there real quick to say goodnight. And we could just talk a little bit about it so I can end it here. And I will be back tomorrow at 2:30. There we go, Lauren. Lauren, you're going to come over, right? I want to ask you something. We're going to go over to that app. We'll finish it out there. I'll be back at 2:30, and then we will have, at 8:30 p.m. live with Dr. Nadine Crosby. She is Keith's editor, and we have Jonathan, who is he's an author of a book. So they will be on tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. So we're going to head over to that app. We will be there in about 1 minute. I'm just going to end it, and I have to put another phone because this phone, it doesn't hold that app for some reason because it's older. So I'll just connect on my other phone. We'll be over there. What's the name? Oh, same name. Oh, no, this name. I'm sorry. This name, MargeC, same name. I'll be over there. Okay, so I will see everyone in about 1 minute, and then tomorrow I'll see everybody at 2:30. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you all in about a minute. Bye.